In this lesson, we're looking at awzan al-af'al, or verbal patterns. Now, you have already studied the 10 forms before, and here we're looking at how you can better identify these 10 forms and to understand that there are some basic meanings that differentiate one form from another. The 10 forms are a series of patterns that, when combined with the word root, produce meanings. And the general rule is a root meaning plus a pattern meaning equals a word meaning. So here we have kataba, which means he wrote. It's form 1. Kataba is form 1 with a root kaf, ta, ba. And then form 1 is fa'ala, yaf'alu. Or here kataba yaktubu, which is fa'ala yaf'ulu. And when we have kataba here as fa'ala, it means the past tense, which is he wrote. Let's look at kataba. This is a form 3, fa'ala. And the form 3 has a social meaning. So it means to share in form 1, socially. So we can say to kataba generally means in form 1 to write. And so when a person writes to someone else, then we could say he corresponds with that person. But here we have the past tense, fa'ala yufa'ilu, and so kataba means he corresponded. So you can see that these forms are, in a sense, speaking to one another. Here we have aktaba, which is af'ala, form 4. And form 4 has a general meaning of to cause the meaning of form 1. And so if kataba in form 1 has the meaning of to write, then aktaba would mean to make right, which here we could understand why the meaning would be of form 4 would be to dictate, because when you dictate, you make someone or you cause someone to write something down from your speech. And so aktaba here means to dictate. And because af'ala yuf'ilu, af'ala is the past tense, third person masculine singular, we would then translate this as he dictated. The power of the 10 forms lies in your ability to guess the meanings of new words. It also enables you to appreciate the subtleties of words and allows you to successfully use a root-based dictionary like Hans Wehr, which you should already be using to a certain extent. Let's look at darasa. Darasa means, as you know, to study. He studied. So if we know that form 3 is fa'ala, and then we want to know this new word, darasu, then we would say, it fits the pattern of form 3. I know that form 3 has a social meaning, so if the meaning of form 1 is to study, then to study together might be a good meaning for darasu, which is third person masculine plural, past tense, so they studied together. So you see, you can kind of guess the meanings of new words that are related to a root that you already know if you apply some of these rules from the 10 forms. We could also look at a word like ahsana. Ahsana is form 4, and hasuna is a word that means, or even if you don't know what hasuna means, but ahsanu as a noun means the best. So here we have ahsana in form 4 means here to do good to, or to do something with excellence, or to do something beautifully. This is an entry from Hans Wehr dictionary. Notice jalasa yajlisu. The I there is the voweling on the lam, fa ain, sorry, the ain letter, which is lam here. So it's jalasa yajlisu. That's the I there. Julus is our masdar. Julus means sitting. And if we look here down at form 3, we have here to sit with someone, next to someone, in someone's company, to keep someone company. So here you notice that form 3 has a social meaning, as we discussed before. So jalasa means to sit. Jalasa means to sit. Jalasa means he sat with someone. And for form 4, to make someone do the thing, here ajlasa means he asked someone to sit down. Ajlasahu, he made him sit down. Here is a chart in which we can see the 10 forms and some of their meanings. So here fa'ala, and an example is qata'a. Then we have fa'ala, qatta'a. Notice here form 2 has the meaning of an intensification. If qata'a means to cut, then qatta'a means to chop up something. And then qata'a means to cut something off. So qata'a, like to cut off something, i.e., like to cut off a relationship, or to cut off something that connects someone to something, oneself to someone else. So qata'a. Aqta'a, to divide up land, to make cut up, i.e. to divide up. Taqatta'a, to be chopped up. Here, this is oftentimes form 5, the intransitive of form 2. It's related to form 2. Here we're looking at we're looking at more of the forms down in the chart, and we have here forms 6, 7, and 8. Taqata'a, to intersect. Again, form 6 has a social meaning as well as form 3. Form 6 is related to form 3. Intersecting. Inqata'a, to be cut off, has a passive meaning. Infa'ala has a passive meaning, form 7. Iqtata'a, to take a cut of something. And here, ihmarra there isn't a form 9 for the root qata'a, but so if we look at form 9 in terms of what are called colors and defects, ihmarra, to become red, ihmarra. We do have istaqta'a, which is form 10 for qata'a, means to deduce or deduct. So oftentimes form 10 has the meaning of consideration or deeming an action. So istaqta'a means here to deduct something. Here's a little mnemonic that will help you figure out the root. You need stamina to find the root. So you, ya, wow, you need stamina. Okay, sin, ta, alif, mim, nun, hamza on the alif. All of these letters, along with ya and wow, are additional letters to the root. So here, if we have, for example, in fa'ala or in qata'a, see that noon there is additional to the root. If we know that noon is oftentimes additional to the root, then we can sometimes identify the root letters, which would be, in the case of in qata'a, the qaf, ta, and ayn. Also with istaf'ala, for example, istaqta'a, we notice that the stamina here, the alif, sin, ta in ist is additional to the root. So we know again that qaf, ta, ayn are the root letters. Some other things that you need to know about finding the root. You can oftentimes guess the root by finding the letters other than the ones above, which we discussed. So here if we have istaqbala, and we know that istaf'ala is our pattern for form 10, then we could probably figure out that the root is qaf ba, lam. One thing to note is that weak roots can become one another and an alif in certain circumstances. Yatamanna. Here, yatamanna, notice the ya is additional, the ta is additional, and however, we have an alif at the end, an alif maqsura. So mim, noon, but alif is never a root letter. So you see here the root letter, if we looked it up in the dictionary, and we would have to look this up in the dictionary, we would look up mim, noon, wow, and mim, noon, ya, and then find out that mim, noon, ya is the root of yatamanna. But the alif can never be a root letter. And that's something that we should emphasize, that alif, whenever you see it, represents a root letter, and oftentimes it represents a weak letter, either a waw or a ya. And sometimes, in order to find out whether it's a waw or a ya, you have to look that up in the dictionary. Sometimes you would have to look up both options to figure it out. Other ways to figure out whether the root letter is a waw or a ya is to look at the masdar. The masdar will oftentimes indicate whether the waw or the ya is the root letter. So here are some rules to remember for the 10 forms. Learning the 10 forms chart can help immensely in helping you guess the meanings of words you don't already know. The 10 forms chart will help you identify words to facilitate looking up a word in the dictionary based on the word's root and pattern. Ma as-salam.